All right. So, in an attempt to respect privacy, privacy and copywriting, there have been a few incidents that have taken place over the last couple of days that have made me think about this subject, and I'm a little unsure about how to approach it. But basically, these cricket. But basically, I've been hearing all these talks about how a person is supposed to be under certain conditions. Maybe, for example, how each individual is supposed to act in a marriage. Um, Now, I understand the reasons for certain roles, but what I think many people are not considering is what what power does to people. And by power, I don't necessarily mean political power or to have a seat in office, um, to have millions of dollars, to be the CEO of a company, but to have power in a way where you can choose, you can decide how it's going to be. So it's like when one person doesn't live up to a certain standard, if they don't live up to a certain traditional way of thinking, then certain people get mad. And I think that it's understandable. Like, I get why you would get mad. But what I think people are not considering is that maybe, if I'm wording it correctly, that is simply a side effect of freedom. Freedom gives you the ability to, for lack of a better way of putting it, to maneuver without, at the very least, punishment. Like, consequences are always going to come, but to at least maneuver without punishment from authority. But it's like power is extremely synonymous because when you have power, you can maneuver freely because there isn't a power that can that can limit you. And so it's like, I mean, when you acquire status in the world, when you acquire financial freedom, when you acquire a certain reputation, what comes with the territory is the ability to maneuver, particularly in ways and in spaces that people who don't have what you have can't. And I think that that's just simply to be expected. I think to think anything else is not, I think it's foolish. I don't think it's foolish in the sense where you should feel like an idiot or you should feel stupid and you should be punished for your thoughts, but I think it's foolish in a way where you did not consider what can really happen. Like a child who grows up, a person who grows up, it's like, yeah, when they lived under your roof, they listened to what you said, maybe for the sake of example, they listened. But the moment they were able to put themselves in a position, or they found themselves in a position to not have to, where you couldn't punish them for it, they didn't listen. Or, uh, you know, so long as they worked for you and you controlled their paycheck, they listened. But the moment you couldn't control whether or not they got paid, they ain't listen to you. It's a double-edged sword, really, because I think we want people to be free and we want people to be able to grow, to find themselves, to be able to express themselves, but sometimes the capacity of the relationship will put us and the other person in a box. And maybe rightfully so, maybe, but because much of it is a traditional thing that maybe at the time that the tradition was thought of, it was thought of with logic and reason in mind. But what happened was it just became a way of thinking without understanding the reason. It's like there's a mathematical equation and you know what the answer to that equation is, but you don't know how it came to be. It's like pi. I know that pi is 3.14. That's all I know. I know it goes on for quite some time, but I don't know how far it goes, and I don't know how that came to be. I don't know what pi means. Like I don't know why you would use pi, when you would use pi. And there's somebody that does. Somebody might correct me on this, but it's just one of those thoughts that has been passed on in a similar way that tradition has been passed on. It's just a common piece of information. A lot of people know it. They don't know why they know it. So when you find yourself to be married, you're supposed to act like this. That's just common information. They don't tell you why you're supposed to act like this. Now, each person might have their own way of justifying the reasons for their actions. And hey, that's fine. But to think that everybody or just anybody is going to adhere to those same philosophies is not the wisest move. You know, I think, like I heard Will Smith say, I think he said it because I saw it in a meme and the meme gave him credit. So in the age of, technology, who knows anymore? But I'm giving credit to Will Smith at least until I find out that I'm wrong. But he said that money doesn't make you a bad person necessarily, but money exaggerates who you already are. It amplifies who you already are. If you're already if you're a jerk, if you're not like if you're a jerk on the inside, but you're not a jerk because you're not in a position to be a jerk because people can punish you for that, you're not gonna be a jerk. But the moment you get that person money, they're like, nah, they'll tell you off because there's nothing you can do to them. And depending on how much money they got, you can sue them. They still can't do anything to you, to them, so they got no reason to be nice to you. And it's a sticky situation. But I think because this video is coming close to 10 minutes, I think the purpose of this video is just to really focus on the idea of freedom and power and what that does to a person and how it would be wise of us as human beings to think to ourselves, to have the conversation with ourselves. What's this person that I interact with gonna do when they acquire that level of freedom where they don't need me? What are they gonna do? And of all of the hypothetical situations that I can come up with, I need to be ready to deal with at the very least, I need to be ready to deal with the worst one because it'll affect me up to the extent that I deal with them. With all that said, I hope this video made sense. I hope that there's a soul in the world who cares about it, who can find use in it. And if not, then I guess I will never speak on this subject again, at least this specifically. I'll probably talk on it because I feel like at some point I'm going to start repeating myself and I'm going to have to look through my videos and be like, okay, what did I already talk about? But yeah,